Okay, hey guys. Um, so I just wanted to do a quick video this morning to share some results from a tower buster, Orgone Orgonite tower buster experiment that I did this week. So I've done a few different types, I guess you could say, of tower busters. Um, so just the standard puck tower buster. Same amount of resin with these, but just a different shape. This one has a quartz point in it as well, and a Nubian pyramid style one as well. So how I'm getting a measure on these is, as per usual, guys, is with the Bovis scale. It's just a measure of life force energy that is attained through dowsing. So check that out if you haven't already. It's pretty straightforward and simple, and a good measure of reference to understand, the kinds of results that we're getting with these tools. So with that being said, I did a video on making Orgonite the other day, making these. These ones are a different batch that I did, because the batch I did in that video still hasn't set properly because it didn't have the right mix, but exact same mix and virtually the same ratio. So if you like these and you want to replicate them yourself, watch that video and that can show you how. So basically what I found with these was that they came through pretty good. They're essentially just iron swarf and a crystal matrix in there. Still a little bit to be desired with the settling there of that finer swarf. So I've actually done a new mix of swarf with some thicker bits in it as well, to hopefully just disperse that metal a little further through. But in this case, because we've got so much crystal dust in there as well, it's still very functional. So I don't see a problem with this. Obviously could be better, but it's a work in progress. So to give you an idea of ratios, if you're not familiar with the Bovis scale, I did a average reading for my region that I'm in here in New South Wales, Australia. The average level of life force energy, or level of consciousness, however you want to look at it. And that came through, for an average for the year, is sitting around 20,000 Bovis for an average energy level of the region. So that's not to say anything about the people, but that's just the Bovis reading on average. So yeah, that's to give you a point of reference. So to give you an idea, these ones here are just resin, swarf, iron swarf, and a few different kinds of crystal. There was black tourmaline and shungite in these ones, as well as rose quartz and rose aqua aura quartz. And in these ones I put a bit of selenite as well. Yeah, so really simple kind of, and some sodalite, sorry. So really simple crystal matrix in here. There's just, the shungite and black tourmaline are for the grounding and transmutation of the energy primarily. Sodalite more for clear communication. The quartz, rose quartz, rose aura quartz, just for the heart-centered sort of heart-centering love aspect of these, and obviously a bit of selenite for various purposes. Have a look at selenite if you're not familiar with it. Yeah, so really easy to access kind of crystals there. You can find those anywhere. So yeah, so with that, I used the same mix. I actually mixed everything in the same pot to pour all of these different kinds here, so it's exactly the same mix. They were set in the same place. I did charge the bucket of resin that I've got with a powered pyramid for probably 24 hours. Seems to have had a bit of an effect, but because this is my first measured test, I can't say how much of an effect that extra charging does have. Yeah, so anyway, the results with these ones came in at 988,000 Bovis, so just shy of 1,000,000 Bovis each, which for a tower buster is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm finding I've done a similar mix of these, and the towers that I've thrown them at so far are leveling out around 650, 700,000 Bovis. So it's kind of like the load from the tower kind of brings the Bovis level down a little bit. But that's still a tower that's emanating, around 650,000, 700,000 Bovis. I've actually driven past a few of them that I've done a few times over the last week, and it feels really nice going past them. Usually I look at a tower and just sort of go, ugh, and feel a bit of a contraction in my heart. And yeah, you drive past them and it's actually quite an uplifting experience. It feels nicer than the surrounding area now. So yeah, that's been a really positive change to see. So a tower buster like this, you can expect to, and again, you can expect to have a nice impact. And again, just to put that in perspective, that tower before it was busted that I'm speaking about, that I've driven past a few times, was 1,200 on the Bovis scale. Okay, so we've bumped it up from 1,200 to 650,000 Bovis, and that is in comparison to the general level of consciousness or the general level of life force energy in the region, which is 20,000. So it's a beacon of happiness in comparison to all of that stuff. Okay, so for the sake of a simple tower buster, that's an awesome result. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, those ones, standard tower buster, pretty chunky. These are 4 centimeters deep. Usually your cupcake trays are 3, I think, centimeters. So this is slightly bigger molds. But yeah, so 988,000 on the Bovis scale. These ones here are lighter. These are probably the same size as your standard 3 centimeter deep cupcake, but they're rounded on top. So yeah, minimal amount of resin. I actually found these ones came through at 998, so an extra 10,000 on the Bovis scale there, just for the shape, and they're a bit smaller, which was interesting. Again, same amount of metal, same amount of everything, just different shape and slightly smaller. Virtually the same result, but if you're doing hundreds of these, it might be worth considering using a round one because you can get a better result with less resin. Yeah, so those ones were 998. Okay, now Stephen Geddes from, I hope I pronounced your name right. He has a Facebook page, Monsoon Orgone, very knowledgeable about this stuff. Commented on a past video the other day and said, "Why aren't you putting quartz points?" Or surprised that I wasn't putting quartz points in these tower busters. And in my mind, I sort of went, yeah, I've tried both before, and they felt the same to me, but I've never actually really gotten a concrete answer for that. So I did that this time to test. So to give you an idea, this one with a quartz point, it's probably about that big. It wasn't huge. It was just a raw quartz point, so nothing particularly special about it. I just added that into this mix. So this one came through at 1.257 million Bovis, just for adding a quartz point. So that is what, like 260,000. That's 260,000 Bovis extra for adding an extra little quartz point. So probably, getting a tower buster that's hitting at, over 1 million Bovis is pretty good. So yeah, if you're making these, probably worth considering putting a quartz point in there. I'm going to have a look around and see if I can get a big, few kilo bag of quartz points to just add as standard in my tower busters now, because that's a really big difference. An extra 260,000. That's a big difference. So yeah, that one so far is the winner. by far. Cost effective, for overall power. This one for cost effectiveness, and this one because, it's a tower buster, standard. Yeah. Anyway, so the last thing I did was a Nubian pyramid. This one has a quartz point in the top, which you can probably see. It's from the same mix. There's quite a bit of swarf in there, and yeah, all the crystal matrix and stuff that was left over in the resin down the bottom. This one, 9.89 million. All right, so nearly 10 million Bovis for just changing the shape, really. So that's a jump here. It's like an 8 million Bovis jump between those two, and this one's with the quartz points. So they have exactly the same thing in them. This pyramid probably is like 2 of these worth of resin. So even if you have put 2 of these on a tower, you're going to get about a 3 million Bovis effect in your yard or somewhere you're gridding. 2 of these are going to equate to 3 million Bovis for the same amount of resin as this, but because this is a pyramid, you've got phi and the geometry and everything working for you there as well, which jumps it up to 9.89 million. So I'm just going to round up just to make it really simple. This one is 1.25, this one's 10. So you would need, maths, you would need 6, 9. You would need about 9 or 10 of these to equate to 1 of these. Okay, so yeah, you can draw your own conclusions from that. But so I'm actually thinking about for my tower busters just going with the slightly smaller version of these. What I'd actually like to do is, if I can use this much resin or a little or thereabouts, so as much resin as you would use for a standard tower buster, and use this shape, I'm going to try and improve upon the ratios in the crystal matrix a bit. I'm going to add in a couple of other crystals, just adjust it a little bit to get a bit better of a result. There's some harmonizing and things that I want to do just to dial in that mix a bit for this orgonite. So yeah, essentially what I'm thinking would be the best thing to do is to make smaller versions of this and use those as tower busters. Yeah, trying not to reinvent the wheel with these, but just that shape has such a phenomenal difference. I figure if I can use pretty well the same amount of resin, then that's going to be really cool. On a side note, these would be really good for gridding. So if you have a block of land or something, you'd put this, on the roof of your house or somewhere central, and then you can use, 4 or 6 or 10 or however many of these that you need just to make a little grid, working your way out from there, even hitting a few local towers and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully that's given you guys a bit of a reference point to work from as far as the kinds of results you can expect from your tower busters that you're making. Obviously keep it simple. I am getting a little bit more complicated with the crystal matrix now, just because I've made so many of different ones. I'm starting to get a feel for what is good for what. But yeah, having that crystal matrix in there is obviously making a huge difference to the effectiveness of these, of the consciousness level of it, the quality and of the life force energy. So with your standard tower busters, just with a quartz point in there, you can expect a pretty good result. I guess these ones are just a little more fine-tuned to give a little bit more bang for your buck for the effect that you're having in the area. So it's a standard for me now, because I am pretty sensitive to all these different energies. So I like to had a bit more of, that heart-centered goodness and communication, those clear communication vibes in there and such. So yeah, I'll just give you one more little overview. I'll try to. You see there. So all of these were from the same bucket. Okay, so 988,000 on the Bova scale, 998,000 on the Bova scale. Round one with the quartz point, 1.257 million, and the Nubian pyramid, 9.89 million. So I do feel like, yeah, I do feel like once I get this crystal matrix dialed in a little bit more, all of these are going to pop over that sort of 10 mark. So I'm expecting to be able to get, a million Bovis out of one of these little buggers. Even a million out of your standard tower buster. I'd be surprised if we couldn't get that with a bit more fine tuning. And easily over 10 million with one of these. So yeah, that's that. I think I will make these available for people to purchase now too. I'm pretty happy with them. I'm not polishing any of these or anything because they're purely tactical pieces. They're not meant to be, centerpieces that are pretty, although they are kind of cool. But I really like it's kind of like the Black Sun Orgonite thing going on, I guess. Yeah, so I'll make these available on my Facebook page for you guys. If anybody would like to order some of these, I'm in Australia, so you know the deal with that. And yeah, if you watch this video, mention if you do purchase some, I'll put some packs up there. Mention that you saw the video and I'll give you an extra 10% off. Because I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos and to learn for yourselves. So, yep, thanks for tuning in, guys, and have an awesome day.